really quick. Pepsin versus serrapeptase enzyme for indigestion. Which one will work better? Well, the serrapeptase enzyme will work better. Why? Because it'll be faster. And the reason why it'll be faster is because it'll work in your food's native pH range. What in the world does that even mean? Well, basically, really quick background story on how enzymes work, or what they need in order to work. Three things, really important. They have to be stabilized with a cofactor, which is what? Basically a vitamin or a mineral. It helps stabilize the structure of the enzyme, and for example, it helps the enzyme not digest itself in the process of digesting everything else. So it adds like a longevity to the enzyme, which is good. This is what we want. Now, an enzyme also requires a certain temperature range in order to be efficient. Now, in this case, we're talking about serrapeptase and pepsin, and working well in our body, which, of course, has a temperature. And it just so happens that our body's temperature is A-OK for both serrapeptase and pepsin. Now, finally, and this is where the meat is, this is what we want to focus on. Every enzyme requires a certain pH range to be present. We'll break down pH in a second. Anyway, every enzyme has a good pH range of where it likes to do its job. And for example, pepsin is really good between 2 and 4, and serrapeptase enzyme has a slightly bigger range, which is between 5 and 10. Well, it's actually significantly bigger. But real quick, what in the world is pH? So basically, any food that you put in your body is going to be acidic on the scale, which is what? Okay, so basically there's a scale that exists. We call it the pH scale, and it's between 0 to 14. Now, anything below 7, we would consider that acidic, and anything above 7, we would consider that alkaline. Now, to give you some perspective, imagine taking some vinegar, for example, and putting that in your mouth. You would go, ooh, man, is that good. You probably wouldn't say the good part. Anyway, vinegar has a pH between 2 and 3. So acidic things tend to taste sour and make your face squish up. Now, if we go more alkaline, let's say baking soda, for example, has a pH around 9. So if you take a tablespoon of baking soda and you put it in your mouth, your face will equally go, oh, man, is that good. Just kidding on the good part. Anyway, that'll give you somewhat of a perspective of this scale called the pH. So acidic things which have a number closer to 0 are sour in their taste, in their profile. And things that are closer to 14 on the pH scale we would consider that alkaline, and it has more of a bitter taste. So anyway, I just happened to make a statement kind of at the beginning of this video, and I said that serrapeptase enzyme is better because it'll work in your food's native pH range. Now, pretty much anything that you would put in your mouth for food, whether that's cucumbers, celery, broccoli, honey, apples, maybe chicken breast or beef, maybe what's something good, salmon, all of that is going to be acidic, which means, remember, it's going to have a pH below 7. Now, the pH range of those foods, honestly, is around 5 and 6. So I also happened to mention a few seconds ago that the pH range for pepsin, of where it actually works, is between 2 and 4. So if a food that you're most likely going to be eating is between 5 and 6, the pepsin is just not going to work at all. So a typical example would be, let's say you eat a meal and it's nice steamed broccoli with some sea salt on it, maybe a piece of salmon, and maybe you have some butter and rosemary on it, or however you cook it. Let's say you eat that and then you take a serrapeptase enzyme. Well, the pH range in that food that you just ate will be between 5 and 6, and that is an okay pH range for serrapeptase to start working immediately. So if you were to take a pill of Pepsin, for example, it's not going to do a darn thing. It's just going to sit there and be totally inactive because the pH range for Pepsin to actually work is quite low, almost near battery acid levels, which is like a pH of 1. Anyway, so that is a major reason why serrapeptase is better. Now, furthermore, there's another reason why serrapeptase is going to be better for relieving indigestive indigestion symptoms. So basically because it has a wide substrate variability. Now, what in the world does that even mean? Well, really, really simple. It can break down a lot of stuff. It can help catalyze a chemical reaction to quite a variety of different things. So basically, a substrate is that thing that we say an enzyme works on. So let's say, for example, you have a piece of chicken breast, for example, and there's amino acids that make up that chicken breast, the meat. That whole meat thing is made up of amino acids, for example. Well, those amino acids, we would say, are substrates for pepsin enzyme, for example, to break apart, or the serrapeptase enzyme to break apart. And that's another big difference. Basically, pepsin is really, really good for animal-based proteins, animal products. It's awesome for that, but any other type of protein, it's considerably slower compared to serrapeptase, which can break down proteins, let's say, from your legumes, your nuts, your seeds, your grains, the proteins in any type of vegetable matter that you can think of, plus animal products. So just right away, in summary, pretty much anything that you eat is going to have a pH level. Well, any vegetable, grain, or meat, for example, have a pH level between 5 and 6, which is acidic. And then, of course, if you happen to eat some fruit, it's just even going to be even more acidic. In this case, it would activate pepsin, but there's not much protein in any fruit anyway, so it's not going to work regardless. Anyway, so the pH range of what you eat will be fine for serrapeptase. And almost no matter what you eat, serrapeptase will help you break it down in your stomach. Now, there is a little caveat here we need to address. So as far as using serrapeptase for digesting your food, that's really, really cool. But the serrapeptase actually can do significantly more, I'm not going to say important, but also important things in your body, or we would consider important things in your body. I have another video on it if you want to watch it, serrapeptase. Anyway, so you're going to find two varieties of serrapeptase. There's one variety of serrapeptase enzyme that has like an enteric coating in its capsule, which is designed for that serrapeptase not to be released in your stomach, or the capsule will say acid armor on it. So basically, if you want serrapeptase to be active in your blood and in your tissues, we don't want it to be active in your stomach digesting your food. We want it to digest other things, which I talked about in my other video. Anyway, there's the type of enzyme that we want. The serrapeptase enzyme is just a run-of-the-mill, plain Jane serrapeptase, no protective coating on it whatsoever, because we want it to be active in our stomach to help our indigestion out. Anyway, so that's what I think about serrapeptase versus pepsin for indigestion, and cheers.